Hello, my name is Redux, and welcome back to the next episode, which I believe we're now on episode 9 of my Let's Build series. You can see in the background, I've done a little bit off camera, but really not much to talk about, so I'm not really going to have to do a quick cut summarising all those changes, so we'll just quickly fly over and have a look at them. All I've done is I've created these beacons that I discussed last episode. Built them up a little bit. I made some staircases up to them so they can be lit, and then I made some like little camps where the guards might be hanging out. They've got a little campfire and some chairs, little armor stand, and literally with this one over here is literally the same design. A little bit different at the base just because it's bigger, so I made the base a little bit thicker here. And yeah, there's some block variation in here as well with the cracked and the chiseled, and again just a staircase winding up here, going all the way up to the top so it can be lit. And again, just a campfire here, but there's 3 guards here and a bit more armor here because this is a bigger pyre here. Now obviously with the banners, we don't currently have any banner designs for this village at all, or for this kingdom that this village is part of. So for now I've just used a blank cyan banner. However, when we do get round to building our first castle or fortress in the area, what I will want to do is do a banner design for that castle, come up with some colours, and then these will be replaced with the same ones. So I'm going to have a think about that and tinker with some banner designs off camera at some stage. But if anyone in the comments has anything they want to suggest, maybe a little bit of backstory as to why you use certain patterns or colours, that'd be really cool. And if I like it enough, you never know, I may just use it in this series here. I might implement it into this village here, who knows. And if I don't use it for this village but I still like it, I may well still use it for future builds. So please let me know if you have any suggestions for banner design ideas. So other than that, all I've done is I built this little sort of pillar here with an arch going both ways. I just felt like this cliff wasn't designed particularly well. The overhang felt a bit too unnatural. It just didn't seem like it would be very stable. So I added this support in here, and looking at it, I think it's just added that little bit of detail we needed to make that a bit more structurally sound, which is still important when you're building. And then I added these random kind of just patches of grass just kind of melting into the actual swamp area here, which I said last episode I was going to use that kind of natural terrain that Minecraft has there, because although it's not maybe the best looking because it's so blocky, it's nice to have that kind of ode to the original game, I guess. Maybe I'm just being overly sentimental, who knows. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be jumping into a time lapse. I'm not quite sure how much I'm going to get done in this first time lapse because I haven't got an actual plan for this one. Just realised I need to put some block variation in this as well. But what we're going to be doing is changing up this path, probably putting a bit more block variation in this path, I think. Don't think I like how clean it is, so I think I'll just be sticking with the coarse dirt going through here. And then what I want to do is, whoops, I accidentally tabbed out. What I then want to do is build sort of a pathway on the water here. It's going to be almost like a jetty. So it's just going to be fences and like some slabs and trapdoors potentially, just something that's quite patchy, rickety, kind of goes zigzags through. And I want a branch that goes off in this area because I definitely want to do something over here. We're not going to be working on this area in this episode because I haven't really worked out what I want with it. I do think having a pathway going this way would be cool because I want to pass under this arch because I am really happy with how it turned out. So we might want to make a little build back in this area. I'm almost thinking that we do maybe like a little bandit camp area around there, because this kind of feels like, it's like a bit of a secluded area. Maybe there are some like bandits who hang out in this area, and then we'll have our main swamp village up in this area, kind of covering this lake with the witch hut up there. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is hop off camera, come up with a little plan, and then we'll be jumping straight into a time lapse. So yeah, the next thing you guys will see is a time lapse of some building. What that will be, nobody knows, but let's go. was a lot of fun to do, and I have made quite a few changes off camera as well. Obviously not in the same project area now. I'm actually back at the archway and the port near our village, and as you can see, I've changed the time of day. So what I wanted to do is have this different point of view in terms of the lighting when we're building this swamp. I want it to be a little bit darker and a little bit more interesting. So I've decided to change the day to sunset, and since we've changed the lighting, I thought we might as well look at the project that we started with, this starter village, at this kind of time of day. So I'm just going to kind of walk through here and just want to make sure that there's no excessively dark spots here. I think we should be pretty good in terms of coverage. I think, you know, we spammed a lot of these boring kind of lamp designs around, so I don't think there's much need for any hidden lighting at all in here. I think it's all pretty well lit, but we're just going to have a quick walk through. Now, in terms of what we're going to do for the rest of this episode, I'm actually recording this section about 2.5 hours after the episode was supposed to be released. Not great. I felt a little bit behind. I got a bit carried away doing some other stuff at the weekend. Nothing productive, just just messing around and chatting with friends, and I do apologise for that. So this episode is going to be late, so I'm kind of rushing to get it done now. So I think the main thing we're going to be focused on for the rest of the episode is just going over the changes I've made in the swamp area, which I'll show you momentarily once we get over there. And then I just want to discuss what we're going to do for the next episode and what kind of the plans I have for the area are. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking for now, and once again I do apologise that the episode's going to be shorter than normal. But I just want to make sure that it is out today, and I'll make up for that with some big progress in the next episode, and we'll touch on that in a little bit. So, what have I done in the swamp area? Well, one of the main things I've focused on doing is adding in some more block variation. I thought these big blocks of grass just weren't cutting it and weren't having the feeling we were after, so around all these stony outcrops I've added soul sand, and then every now and then I've just dotted in some podzol as well. You can see that I've carried that on around this area, but I haven't done it in anywhere else. Oh, I have done it down here as well. Maybe you need to add some podzol here, but I haven't added it in this area here because we haven't worked on this or worked out what's going to be going on in this section anyway. I've also added a few kind of little plants and stuff. So again, we're using this bamboo trick where you just place a bit of string above the bamboo to stop it from growing. I really like the effect it gives, and it really fits in with kind of the vibe and atmosphere we're going for here. The flowers I've gone for are wither roses. I think I will add maybe some more azure bluettes and maybe some purple flowers, maybe the tulips. Maybe even use some of the larger ones, the peonies. I'm not sure yet if that's how you pronounce them. I really don't know. But I think these wither roses are going to be really good for us. I like the particle effects they give off as well. I've also added some sea pickles here and there as well, and some dead bushes, as you can see over here. One other thing I would like to do is probably add some campfires, say under the water here. You know, I've added some soul sand here, which gives it the bubbling effect, but it would be cool to have some smoke rising out of some places. And maybe we'll have one section of the swamp that's got some like fires burning and stuff. That could be quite cool. Maybe have some some trees that have been set on fire maybe in a different section. We'll think of that for the next episode. But let's just walk you through here. Again, I've put some soul sand in the water, for example here, which just again, as you're walking through, you're not really going to notice the soul sand so much, but you may notice the bubbles, which is a cool effect. Again, it just gives it that kind of whimsical, kind of mystical feel. You know, that there's maybe something under the water, maybe some creatures or something. Now, in terms of the trees, I'm not sure about this andesite that I've used. The reason I put this andesite in was, one, I wanted to get more shape and detail in on what is essentially a very small tree design, but I also wanted it to make it look, like it was petrified. If you see petrified wood, it's kind of got this grey dead feel to it, which the acacia wood logs already do, but I thought this maybe made it look even more kind of like dead and petrified. I added some mushroom blocks to show that there was some sort of fungus growing on the trees as well, which was quite cool, in my opinion at least. I've also done these mushrooms here, and in the time lapse I hadn't had these end rods on, I believe. I think I added them after the fact. And again, that's just to give a little bit more lighting. I know we've already got the lamps here, but I do like the lighting effect given off by the end rods as well, especially with the shaders on. I think they look really, really cool. Now back here, this hasn't worked quite as well as it does without the shaders on, but what I've done is put some sea lanterns behind light blue glass. Now, I wanted that to kind of just look like there's some blue light shining out. You know, obviously there's no kind of way of currently doing that in the game, so a good way that you can get that effect is putting a light source behind blue glass. The way I could probably get around this is I could put a light source at the bottom, and then I could maybe put blue concrete behind this, like light blue concrete, and that may be better at giving the effect we're after. So that might be something I consider trying and just seeing how it works out, but for now I'm going to leave it as is, and if you guys have any opinions, just let me know. I did also add this tree root and some leaves, I think, off camera as well. I thought this tree root turned out quite nice, just the dark oak planks, and then I just have some fences hanging down. You don't see them much out the front, but I think it just looks, again, like roots kind of coming down, which is a nice effect. I've smattered some leaves around, you know, just for a little bit of an added decoration, just to cover off some of the sight lines as well. Without these leaves here, you could see all the way through to this area, so it was just good to clutter this up a little bit, because I do want it to feel really overgrown. I added these lily pads here, so obviously you've got the small default Minecraft ones, but I added these larger designs, which are really simple to do, with the wool on the bottom and the terracotta around the outside. I could have used concrete, but I do think concrete is maybe overly clean for what we're after, so I didn't go for it in this instance. And that is kind of all we've done for detailing, really. I think that's the short version. You know, added up a few smaller rocks as well, which I don't think were there on the time lapse as well. So, you know, I've done some bits and pieces, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. I think for the mushrooms, I do want to do some ones that are different colours as well. Obviously, all of these I've done are red, but I maybe want to be using terracotta or concrete blocks. More likely the terracotta for the main, and then maybe the concrete for the dots. You know, I can vary up the colours. I just figured that the problem with these mushrooms I've got is that they're quite small. So if I were to use concrete, I probably wouldn't be able to get much of the kind of dotty detail in that you like to see in sort of fantasy style mushrooms. So I think I might leave these ones as red, and then potentially either in the village or sort of maybe back behind the tree line, there might be some larger mushrooms that kind of like loom over the village, and maybe they're going to be more colourful or more interesting. So yeah. So I think that's kind of going to do it for the content of this episode. Again, I'm so sorry that there's not much progress. It's a bit of a talky episode, but yeah, every now and then it's kind of good to take stock of what we've sort of achieved so far, and it was nice to check it out in a different lighting. For the next episode, what we're going to be doing is working in this area, so we're going to continue out this path, and we're going to do some wall blocking for the village, and then I think I'm going to build a house on camera, and then I'll probably do a time-lapse of building the rest of the houses. And then I think for the episode after that, we'll be kind of revisiting this witch's hut, doing some terraforming, and maybe coming up with some tree and mushroom designs for the outside. If we have time, we'll throw in something for this area. I haven't figured out what I want to do here yet. I still like the idea of a bandit camp. Not sure how I would tackle that just yet. I've got a few ideas, but if anyone else does have any ideas, feel free to put it down in the comments, and if I read your comment and I like it, I'll make sure to do it, and obviously I'll credit you guys in the comments as well. So if you've made it to this part of the video, again, thank you so much. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a like, or, you know, at the very least, just leave me a comment, even if it's just to say hi. I really appreciate any time anyone comments my video, and I will always read all of them, and obviously I'll try and respond. Well, I will respond to sort of any comments or like questions that you guys have, so feel free to ask away. And if you've been following since the very start of the series, I know we're only 9 episodes in at this point, but again, I know I sound like a broken record, but I'm really super grateful if you've made it this far through the whole series. But yeah, that'll be it for now. So until next episode, bye guys.